Hello, welcome back to Seconds Out. My name is Eamon Khan. I'm here with, well, I was going to call you the defeated Maxi Hughes, but I mean, are you really?
No, certainly don't feel it. Everybody knows I wasn't. So yeah, the robbed. Say the robbed. Yeah.
The robbed Maxi Hughes. Maxi, I don't want to cover too much old ground because I know you've spoken to some outlets and I watched your interview with Boxing UK, so you've had a lot to say already, but I just want to cover some things that came into my mind. Firstly, not a lot of talk about actually the fight. What was Kambosos like to fight? He really burst on the scene with his shock win and incredible performance over Teofimo Lopez. Did you feel you were in against that Kambosos Jr. on the night?
Well, no, because it's like the old saying, styles make fights, and what I'm able to do against opponents is, I look at the way back to my previous fight with Kid Galahad. So Kid Galahad, very well seasoned, very very good experienced fighter. You look at how he's dealt with most opponents. There's only a very short list of people who's beaten, but the fight that he had with Jazz Dickens, he looked absolutely fantastic. Again with the southpaw, similar to myself. He looked brilliant, and then although he lost against Kiko, he was winning every second of every round and looking good doing it. But yet he wasn't able to look good against me because my style nullified him, made it hard for him, and it's just what I do. I implement what I do. I just what I do to win, which is what I did at the weekend. But I didn't realize I were all fighting four people that night. George and the three judges.
I've seen some talk online about people, look, they are not acknowledge that you are the winner in their eyes, but they say maybe do you kick yourself a bit for not stepping on the gas in the tighter rounds? Do you feel there was a missed opportunity to push on the gas at points, Maxi?
No, I felt we'd done enough, regardless of that. Maybe if I did that, maybe I would have allowed George more of a chance, because he likes a firefight. Like with Tio, he came out on top in a firefight. So I think that's one of his strengths. Like the round five when I buzzed him, I went in and I let a few more shots, landed a few more, but he also opened up. So when you're in a firefight like that, it's flip of a coin who comes out on top. So he's obviously a tough guy, and when you dig in like that, that's when he really thrives, we believe. So just felt we'd done enough in outboxing him and stuff. So it's just, well, what can you do?
I remember when Triple G lost to Canelo and he felt he won and he wanted to exit the ring as fast as he could. Like, I don't have the opportunity to ask him, but I can ask you because you were in the similar sort of mind frame after the result was read out. What was making you want to exit the ring so quickly?
Just felt as though we'd won, we'd deserved to win, and obviously listening to that scorecard 117, 111. So I won three of those rounds. It's just a massive kick in teeth, and it's like all this sacrifice, this hard work, and some bloke decides, probably maybe before the fight, I don't know, but certainly during the fight, what I'm doing is not good enough. They call it the sweet science, hit and don't get it, which is exactly what I did. They encourage young lads from me, get involved in boxing. It's such a great sport. And I've done that for then some bloke to decide he don't like you, or what you're doing is not good enough for him. So he's just not going to score your fight. He's going to go against you. And, my next fight should have been the IBF world title. Excuse me, I won the IBO, and people, not a lot of people, but some people give me stick saying it's not a real world title, this and that. So, I get myself into position by working hard to be put into an eliminator for the IBF. I go out there and win the fight, not officially. And then I've had that taken away from me. My next fight should have been the IBF title for a good payday. But yeah, that them judges decide that, you know, yeah, that's the worst bit in all this. That's what hurts the most, is I've had it taken away from me by three blokes like that, and don't think it's on. You know, it's my life, it's my livelihood, it's everything I've worked hard. It's harder to get over that than losing fair and square. If I'd have lost fair and square, I'd be the first person to hold my hands up and say I was beat by the better man, and I can live with that, knowing that I tried my best and my best wasn't good enough. But the fact that I performed and I should have had my hand raised, that's what really hurts. You know, I've had that taken away, and it's going to take me longer to get back to that position now.
Maxi, look, when things like this happen in boxing, the boxing public like to discuss and talk and like to point as to why the reason the person that they saw winning the fight didn't actually get their hand raised. In your own words, why didn't you get the win on the night?
I've no idea. Maybe because I wasn't signed with Top Rank. I wasn't a bigger name. That's the only thing I can think. Because, you know, George had signed with Top Rank. It was the former unified champ. It was the favourite going in. Maybe that's played its part. I don't know. I'd like to think there's no corruption and no backhanders, but you know, you just don't know, dear. It's sickening that, you know, it happens. You know, I'm not the first, and unfortunately, I probably won't be the last.
Now, I think you said in interviews in the past, like DeBella's, you know, spoke to you, said, "Look, we'll get you a big fight again. We'll get you back over here again." Are you hesitant to go over, considering what's happened in your first outing overseas?
A bit. Other than the result, I had a great experience. The Top Rank staff treated me well. They looked after me. It was a nice, smooth operation. You know, they didn't treat me like the underdog and away promotion. You know, not the home promoted fighter. They treated me very fair. They gave me a lot of time and respect, which I enjoyed. You know, and I enjoyed traveling the world. You know, to say my job's taking me over there were good. But yeah, you know, to the fact that I had to go over there and fight four of them, it does make me question what it would be like in future. So yeah, we'll have to just see what comes next.
The question that comes to my mind, Maxi, and I was wondering how to ask this. I pondered it, but I suppose I'll just ask it to you directly. If you had a prominent promoter in your corner, would that have influenced the decision at all, do you think, or feel at all? I know that you've got Sean O'Hagan and Warrington, a former champion there. So look, if you're kind of talking about swaying in any sort of way, even though it should be obviously fair across the board, you know, you've got that there. But if you had a promoter in your corner, might have things been a little bit different?
I've no idea. No, honestly, I don't know. You know, it's yeah, I honestly don't know. Maybe if I'd signed with Top Rank, maybe they might have seen it as equal. But yeah, you just don't know what goes off. Yeah, I'd like to believe that none of that matters. But you know, maybe it does. Maybe that's why the decision was what it was.
Josh always has said he's wanted to go and do an away trip. Did he say much about it in the sense that does it make him hesitant as well to fulfill what was his dream as well too?
You know, I don't know. We didn't really speak about that much. You know, they did a great job of, I suppose, taking my mind off of what had happened. It was disappointing for us all as a team, the result. But you know, they're obviously good at cheering me up, and you know, they certainly did that. So yeah, it wasn't something we'd spoke about, and I'm sure that's still a dream. It's still a dream of Josh's and a goal to do that, to come over to the States, which, you know, is I would imagine he'll get to do that before he retires. Excuse me, but no, it wasn't something that we spoke about after the fight.
No, I'm not a big fan of cliches, but using a cliche here, your stock did rise even in defeat. And I feel like that does cement that for someone who's been on a trajectory and has got a lot of goodwill towards them from the run that they've had and the good story and the good vibes that they bring in boxing, which is sometimes not the greatest of sports. I suppose this does cement that you are a worthy fighter who should have straps around his waist, having beaten in many eyes a former unified champion. Do you feel that at all, Maxi?
Yeah, like my goal was to go out there and show a bigger audience, a global audience, the US audience, that who Maxi Hughes is and what I'm capable of, and how good I am. You know, people were like, "You're not a real world champion. IBO's not this." So, you know, but right, well, you know, I look at the guys who I've beaten former IBF champion Kid Galahad. You know, unofficially, I should have beaten the former unified world champion. So, you know, it was good to, you know, sort of show a bigger audience who I am and what I'm capable of.
Have you had any extra conversations with the Kambosos team at all?
No, we just spoke in ring afterward, and you know, respect's there. You know, I've got no bad feeling towards George. He got in and did what, you know, he just fought. So it's, you know, it's not George's fault. I wish him well in future. You know, one thing I did say was, you go and get that, you go and win that IBF, and I'll fight you when you've got it. We'll have a rematch. Which obviously he said, yeah, of course, yeah. Whether it amounts to that or not, you never know, do you? I won't hold my breath with that one.
In your heart of hearts, do you think that happens?
I'd love to. You know, the boxing world loves controversy. And, you know, George obviously will say he thinks he won. But it'd be nice, you know, you never know what is, you know, hopefully there's enough noise about it, which there's been a lot of noise. I ain't seen many people say that George won, if any. So hopefully it might be just something that niggles away at him. If he goes and gets the IBF and is a man of his word and gives me a rematch, and you know, he gets the chance to put it to bed, that'd be fantastic. But you know, whether it'll happen or not, I don't know. But it'd be great. You know, this obviously the fight would be bigger than the first one. So we'll see.
Not trying to put you or pit you in a back and forth with George here, but you said, look, if you lost, you'd hold your hands up and say, look, I lost. Is there not a little bit of annoyance at the fact that a lot of people feel that George lost, but he doesn't feel that he lost, and maybe he's not seeing it the way that other people do? I know fighters, like, when they lose, they maybe don't want to admit that. I can only think of one fighter in previous, maybe it was Hari Davis, who said, look, I lost that fight. That springs to mind. But is there not a bit of annoyance there that maybe he's not seeing the fact that you could have won there?
A bit, you know, he might not publicly say it, but you'd hope that his team would be honest with him, because I saw his trainer in the airport when we were leaving, and you know, there were only me and him there, only me and his trainer. My wife was at the side of me, and you know, I went and shook his hand, and you know, his words were, "Maxi, you didn't lose that fight." Whether or not he tells George, you know, if he tells George, he might get sacked, and he might miss out on working with him. But yeah, you know, when that happens, you know, I thought, you know, at least I know where his head at. Excuse me, his head was at. So yeah, it is what it is.
Final couple of things from me, Maxi. I believe you're planning to lodge an appeal for the rematch. Where are you with that, and how viable do you think that appeal is?
I don't know. I honestly don't know. With the only, I know when Kid Galahad fought Josh, he lost, and I know they went to the IBF after that, and Kid got straight back into a final eliminator, which he won against Toka Khan Clary, I believe. and it was back mandatory, which he ended up getting that belt. So the letter will be going in today or tomorrow to start the appeal process. I'm not holding my breath again with what might happen, but fingers crossed. I don't know. I know this. I know they won't overturn the decision, and I'm not after that. But if the IBF can do something, either make me mandatory for the winner of George v. Lemos, if that's the next fight, or get me. Excuse me, not got a bit jet lag yet. Or if they can put me in another eliminator, something like that, it'd be a positive sign. I'm not holding them to that, but we'll just see what happens.
Final thing for me, Maxi, you have it your way. When are you back out again, and who are you back in against, aside from specifically Kambosos Jr.?
Just the big fights, the big fights that draw the big money. That's what I'm after. And it'd be nice to get one in before the end of the year,
right?
Because this is the first fight I've had this year, and it's over halfway through the year. So, I'm pretty fresh. Barely got a mark on me other than these stitches in my forehead. I'm fresh. I'll be back in gym before end of the week. Get back running. So yeah, I want to be out, and I'm going to be trying to be pushing to be out before Christmas.
I'd expected you to be a lot more turned off from boxing than you are presenting yourself now.
Yes. Yeah, I've still got a fire because, like I say, if I'd have genuinely got beat and beat by the better man, maybe that might have helped me, not want to be involved in boxing. Like, what, I've tried at world level and I've failed. So maybe I could look at calling it a day or sorting my last fight. But to perform like that and, show that I am that level and, come out of it like I have, it gives me still got a fire in my belly to go on and achieve, get a world title and earn them big bucks. So yeah, I've still got a fire in my belly.
Maxi, I really appreciate you speaking to me. Hopefully we'll see you realize your dreams very soon. Thank you for speaking to Seconds Out.